Greetings, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today's inaugural webinar series organized by CANEFOR. Let me introduce myself. My name is Dinesh Gajurel. I'm Associate Professor of Finance and Associate Dean of Research and Graduate Studies at University of New Brunswick. I'm sorry. I have been associated with CANEFOR for quite some time. But currently I'm serving as a vice president for CANEFOR. Let me briefly talk about CANEFOR, the society, the organization itself. This organization was created a few years ago, I think even before pandemic. However, we registered formally last year. I think to give a name, Dr. Basu Sharma, Dr. Ram Acharya, Sanjina Tang, Santaman Rai, Anbhakta Acharya, and so many other scholars contributed significantly to form this organization. It is a not-for-profit organization aimed at collaboration of research about Nepal, in Nepal, and exchange of research and collaboration with Canadian scholar and scholar around the world. And every year we try to organize a research conference. We started in 2019, then pandemic hit, therefore we couldn't continue for a few years. And then we continued in 2023, 2024, 2025. So I think we have hosted 3 or 4 conferences so far, and that is just the beginning. Now, today we are going to start a webinar series, starting with our president, Dr. Bhanu Acharya. And he has plethora of experience in journalism and mass communication, media ethics, and the technology and the GenAI. And he has taught about the topic at University of Ottawa as well. And I think he's also editing a book on a similar topic. It's more about ethical implication of AI in journalism and higher education. I think the book is coming sometime soon. So in few minutes, he will start his presentation, and audiences will have a chance to ask the question. Perhaps it would be better if you send your question through in the chat box, so that our moderator or me, we can pass that question to Dr. Acharya. On top of that, we have Dr. Tulsi Dharel, who is helping us to moderate our webinar series today. He's a charter marketer. He was PhD in marketing. Dr. Dharel has been in teaching field since 1987, perhaps when I was too young. And his areas of interest includes international marketing research, sales, and promotion. And he has published several publications and articles focusing in these areas. And besides teaching, he has extensive experience in consulting and as a business entrepreneur. And on top of that, he is established social worker in the sense that he helps a lot to the diaspora communities, not only from Nepal, across the Nepal. And I think he was nominated so many times as top 25 Canadian immigrants. And yeah, the list goes on and on about Dr. Dharel, and perhaps many diaspora people know him very well. Now, without any further delays, I would like to ask Dr. Acharya to prepare his presentation. His presentation will last for tentative time is about 45 minutes. Hoping that that time will be sufficient, and we'll have another 45 minutes for question answer and moderation. So participants, if you have any question, please feel free to send your question in the chat box so that we can ask that question to the presenter, Dr. Acharya.
Thank you, Professor Gajurel, for this hosting and introducing us so nicely and with a lot of information. Today we're presenting the inaugural series of these seminars. So that is, we are starting from effective use of GenAI in teaching and learning. And this is a very cross-cutting across different disciplines, not much more focused on social sciences and communication department in particular. But this area of the coverage that we're discussing today is a kind of universal, and anybody who can join will get definitely some insights on that. In my today's presentation, I'm just trying to finish this within 45 minutes, and I set my timer here as well. So I will try to stick on that. Maybe it can go a few minutes more or less.
Don't worry, Dr. Acharya. We are here to remind you.
Okay, no, I have the timer here, so I'm ready on that.
Thank you.
I just want to share the screen first, and then I will see how things goes here. Okay, let me just try to share the screen first. Okay, but the screen, I don't know. There are some technicalities here. What is my Zoom going? I'm going with this one because so many things showing here. Okay, I think this one is the right thing. So you are seeing so many things, right? It's not just
yeah, it's your desktop or a screen.
Okay,
yes.
just let me try here this one. So what happens now?
Yeah, we can see your slide.
Just the slide, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening and good morning in different parts of the world. Here is 8 right now in Canada, US Eastern Time. And we would like to welcome you in this series of the webinar series. And this is the first webinar series, and we're starting with effective use of Gen AI tools in teaching and learning. And in this presentation, the presentation is divided into 5 different sections. In the first section, I will very briefly review the synopsis of our recently published research and generative AI policies in Canadian universities. So that in the background of that publication, then I will move forward my discussion further. And in second section of the presentation, I will be discussing about the use of statistics of GenAI tools in HEI, higher secondary education system in Canada. And then third section, we'll be talking about the question, confusion, and experiments, hope and fear-driven AI adoption practices in developed countries, and particularly in Canadian top universities. And in the fourth section, I'll be discussing about AI detection tools and approaches in Canadian and American universities. And in the fifth section, it's a very brief section, and I'll be discussing about the tips for effective use of generative AI tools by students and professors. So I would request everyone who are joining here, if you have any kind of questions, just keep writing in the chat box so that Dr. Dharel will figure out the important question, try to moderate that, and then we'll be discussing on that. Since Dr. Dharel is working in a very prestigious college here in Canada, and Dr. Gajurel is working in another prestigious university, so this question is not solely my responsibility. These questions are our shared responsibility, so we'll be discussing on that. Let me begin from this one. It's a good news for us. Last week, Professor Basu Sharma, Professor Gajurel, and I myself, we worked around 1 year. We started from last November, and December, January, February, and keep going. And this October 6th, this research is published, and this is all about generative AI policy in Canadian universities, pedagogical problem faced by Canadian professors. And in this presentation, in this research, then we identify some interesting stuff. So I just want to start today's discussion, effective use of generative AI tools in teaching and learning by focusing on this research here. The research that I showed here, GenAI, this research is solely focused on top 15 Canadian research intensive universities. So these are the big universities. They are more focused on research and teaching as well as research. And 50% of all Canadian university students are accounted within these 15 universities. And 80% of the scholarly publications and citations are covered within these 15 universities. So you can understand the massive scope of these universities, and they have created one organization that called U15. So whenever you see U15 institutions, you mean these 15 University of Alberta, Montreal, Dalhousie, Calgary, Laval, McGill, McMaster, Manitoba, Western Toronto, Queens, Waterloo, Saskatchewan, and University of Ottawa that I'm affiliated to. And in the beginning, I'm not going to talk much about there is a paradigm shift. Generative AI tools has done so much things. We know this. So this is a little old story because we used to talk that in 2023. And every year, number of students and professors and universities, they are growing to adopt in a way, in a transparent way or in a non-transparent way. Universities, professors, students, they are experimenting, exploring different AI tools and their applicability in pedagogical exercises in the classroom or beyond. And there are some challenges in faculty that I'll be discussing here much today, because many students are using these tools in a very non-transparent way that is leading to academic misconduct, and dishonesty is equal to plagiarism. That's the one problem. Another, absence of well-defined policies and guidelines across the universities. And this problem is within this U15 institution too. Number three, instructors are responsible for enforcing those policies that may not be fully universally applicable. There is no consistency across universities, and within universities also different departments have different approaches. And so it's a wait and see, or it's learning by doing type of things happening here. And we had three research hypotheses. One is U15 institution, Canada's top 15 universities also are not adequately prepared for implementing Gen AI tools, and they don't have a very clear, sound, and very transparent policies, number one. Number two, it is creating a challenging positions for the instructors and professors across Canada, especially top 15 U15 universities, that they are responsible for enforcing this regulation, but regulations themselves are very vague and not universally applicable, and they're diverse, and different universities are experimenting in different way. And clear and ethically sound generative policies are necessary, but that is not happening yet. So I'm not going to read the research process. And in that research, we used technology acceptance model. So when a technology is useful, think about generative AI tools, or when it is easy to use. AI tools are very easy because just give a prompt and that will do everything for you, like coding, developing outline, research papers, referencing, everything, or editing language in a different quality. So when technology is very useful and when technology is very easy, then everybody loves to adopt that. This is how GenAI tools, GenAI technology is called general technology, like internet, like social media, like electricity, like telephone, so that even universities are not ready and they are trying to stop or control. students and other stakeholders are massively experimenting with these AI tools, and there is no way to checking. So there's no firewall. So everybody is using it, and it's overwhelming. And I'm not talking about the methodology, it's just for the coding process, screening process, and how these policy documents across 15 universities are coded, screened, and selected for the study. And what we found is that most of the U15 institutions are focusing on ethical and transparent use of GenAI tools. And different universities are using a little different language, but mostly they're saying ethical use, transparent use, so that there should not be any academic dishonesty. And every universities across this 15, U15 institution, they're focused more on about the potential biases and the AI generated hallucinations. So we should be careful on that. All universities are instructing professors and students that there can be hallucination, there can be biases, inbuilt biases. So we should be careful. This is one finding. Another finding is about the integration. So when we cannot stop it, and when everybody is using it, the only solution is adopting them in a very regulated fashion and reorganizing, reorienting education system in a different way. So integrating AI tools in different education system in different quantity and different extent. So this is why there are some universities, they are endorsing MS Copilot, and they are recommending in syllabus, and that there should be a compulsory statement in the syllabus, every core syllabus there now. And every university has done that out of this 50. And university, more or less, they have some kind of resources to encourage university professors, administrators, students to support how to move forward. But this is not happening in a very coordinated way in the speed of people are expecting, the stakeholders are expecting. And there is another theme that we observed is about a lot of autonomy to university professors, because university is developing guideline and professors are there to execute the guideline. But all the risk, the frontline defender is the professor. So all the risk, all kind of experiments, all kind of grievances from the students, and everything is defended by the professors. And that is a little problematic, because this is the extra burden. When there is this technology was not there, then this burden was not there, and there is no incentive and just the burden. So autonomy is there, but extra workload also is there, and there are some restrictions, and then professors, they don't have any specific tool to know if students are using generative AI tools or not, and how they're generating their assignment contents. And no university has allowed any kind of AI detection tools in Canadian context here. And now we can see here, this is very interesting table I developed yesterday. Professors are here, students are here, administrators are here, 3 different stakeholders. Situation is, for professor, extra responsibilities, unclear policies, pressure to ensure academic integrity, but not sure how, because they don't have tools to enforce. The students are guinea pigs, they're victims of unclear policies. At the same time, they are enjoying some kind of freedom to submit the assignment. And the teacher, they don't have any kind of tools that they can rightly control, filter, or see, okay, yes, you have done this. There's no choice. And administration, university administration, they are a little hesitant, wait and see what the other world university is doing, what are the best practices, and little experiment, more wait and see situation. And responsibility, implementing generative AI policies in teaching assessment, professors are doing that. Students experimenting with all AI tools, learning, writing, and research, a kind of freedom students are enjoying. Administration providing institutional leadership, support, and guidance, but they are not uniform across different universities. And there are external factors, lack of training, incentive, institutional readiness, unclear ethical boundaries, and they are tolerated by professors. And students, no clarity on acceptable AI use, false positive, negative in detection. inconsistent rule across courses because different course, different professors, different rules. So students also are in a very confused situation. Administration policy vacuum, decentralized responses, limited coordination across universities, faculties, and department. And let's go to the last one, the outcome. Professors are, because of this scenario, professors are fatigued, stressed, discouraged, limited innovation due to policy ambiguity. Students distrust, anxiety, uncertainty, skepticism about fair evaluation. Administration show adaptation, policy inconsistency, and this is not enforced across different departments and university. Now, there's some question for the discussion. So policy vacuum is there. We observed in our research. University must redesign curricula, it's a revamp completely, overall completely. And faculty training, incentives are needed for their additional workloads. And traditional assessment system must be completely overhauled to change some new system that is AI friendly, as well as friendly to the students' critical thinking too. And U15 institutions are found to be unprepared, adequately not prepared. And now in this section, I'll be talking about what Canadian universities and students and professors are doing in statistics and different researches. So this is the second section I'm talking about. GenAI tools approved across 15 universities are those. I put the Copilot is big here, big symbol, because all 15 universities directly or indirectly endorse Copilot. Most of them fully endorse the Copilot AI tool. Some of them, department-wise, they have endorsed, not across the universities, but university has already subscribed this tool and different departments are using, and some departments are restricting on that. And there are some new tools that are also there. So, for example, Turnitin, University of Ottawa, I found in some department of Western and in Toronto, and Microsoft Copilot Chat. This is a new feature coming for the educators. And I found another interesting chat, GPT EDU. This is focused for master's and PhD students and researchers. And this is a subscribed version. It's not yet open, but University of Toronto and some other universities, they have already subscribed this chat GPT EDU. It's very dedicated, but it takes, it needs a subscription, but it is a real companion. I did the website, I'm not sure because I have not used that. And Web of Science, Contact Nurse, Gemini, Azure AI Foundry, Consensus, Library Chat, Teams Premium, Elicit, Scopus AI. These are the recommended AI tools. What I found, University of Toronto recommended and endorsed 8 AI tools out of that, most of them, University of Toronto. University of Ottawa and others, most of them, they recommended Copilot. And some universities like Queen's, they restricted DeepSeek and some other Chinese and even Grok AI. So some universities not just endorse, they even restricted students to use any kind of activity, don't use them for any kind of academic activities. So I saw that in their website. I never aware of those restrictions, but I got this information just 2 days ago. And here, instructors using GenAI tools are researched by Canadian Digital Learning Research Association. Since 2023, they started doing this kind of research and trying to understand how university professors, instructors in Canada, they are using AI tools. And then in 2023, 19% professors who taught in the past 12 months reported they're using generative AI, different AI tools for different kind of academic activities. In 24, the percentage of 19 grew to 49. And yesterday I just checked the website of the 2025 report, and this in their website, it is still there. They are doing some survey, and Maybe by November, they will publish the new report. And I assume this 49% still grew further because there are so many programs happening across the country that more teachers, professors, they are using AI tools, and government programs also are encouraging them to use that. And what students are doing here? There is another research by KPMG, a very reputed institutions in Canada and beyond. And there are 4 founding professors, and from their surname, the starting of the surname, KPMG is their 4 founders' surname. So KPMG has done a research in 2023, 24, and 25. In 2023, 53% students used AI tools for schoolwork. In 2024, 59%, now 73%. In this year, in 2025, this is a very recent report, just 7 days ago. So 65% of students using GenAI saying their peers rely on AI to avoid critical thinking. They didn't report it themselves, but they say their peers are avoiding critical thinking just using AI. 48% say their critical thinking skill have deteriorated since using AI. 45% say their first instinct is to use AI rather than think critically. So we're also becoming so much paralyzed that, so if there is some new idea, let's try in AI and then think. Previously, we used to think and we used to do Google. Just opposite. 57% say they feel likely that they are cheating whenever they use GenAI tools, and 54% worry that they will be caught for using GenAI tools, and 77% want their HEI, higher education institutions, to offer courses on how to use GenAI tools properly. Here is another study by the Conference Board of Canada that finds something unique. 20% of post-secondary students in Canada report using GenAI tools most of the time, I mean, every time they use in classroom or beyond. 35% said they use most often, and 45% deny that. It means 55% are using most of the time. Male students are more likely to use than female. And immigrants and South Asian, Hispanic, and African, Southeast Asian, East Asian, and Middle Eastern students with that background are using more than European or Canadian origin. And another interesting is indigenous students are way below than the average of using AI tools, meaning there is a huge digital divide with the Canadian indigenous people. And how students are using GenAI tools? Brainstorming ideas, 57%, assisting with understanding course materials, 52%, receiving feedback on writing, 51%, summarizing lectures, notes, 36%, time management, 16%, image generator for mind maps or infographics, 9%, transcribing lectures, 8%, transcribing course materials, 5%, others. Except this time management, because it's not clear whether this is just for cheating or meeting deadlines. Other things, so brainstorming ideas, assisting understanding course materials, these things are, I think, okay. So especially if I'm there, I will definitely welcome this kind of activities in my class activities. Based on the clear instruction, I will be telling more about this later. And what are the challenges now across this? What is happening in Canada? Challenge number 1, instead of submitting their own assignment writing by themselves, AI is ghostwriting for them. And detection difficulties, professors it's a kind of lame duck. They don't have any technologically enhanced and reliable tools, and the university doesn't endorse that, and professors are just seeing, guessing, suspecting, but they don't have anything substantial to how to find that. So that's the problem. Another is reduced student engagement. Students are not engaged in reading, rather than they whenever they have to submit the assignment, they will quickly submit assignment without proper understanding, because they are taking assistance of AI tools. And blurred assistance line, ambiguous legitimate use of AI. So what is ethical, what is not ethical, what is academic dishonesty, what is creative thinking? Not easy. And another citation gap. So AI is generating everything as if it's own, and students is copy pasting that and submitting the assignment as if it is their own, but that is not happening. So there's so many ethical, legal, moral problems, technological problems too. And now in this section, I'll be talking about is a little more horrific scenario of students and professors. Question, confusion, and experiments. Should I use AI tool? Should Gen AI tools be allowed in the course? All professors are thinking in a very serious way. And especially senior professors, maybe those who are a little technophobe, they might have been experiencing more difficulties than that. So here is this question is based on these two hope and fear-driven motives. Hope is that AI, generative AI, there are several studies that are showing that enhances learning, that's showing generative AI tools use boost creativity if design the pedagogical exercises in a proper manner, and it saves time. That definitely that is very good. But what is about the academic integrity? What about the copyrights and creative boundaries? What about the critical thinking? What about their market impact? So these things are quite challenging. And now, what to do then? What is my position on AI use? The University of British Columbia is using this infographics, Center for Engaged Pedagogy, that prepared this. What is my position on AI use? And then if I'm using, yes, then yes, and go this is okay. And how much you are using? Very restrictive, conditional, open. If we want to see a little clearly, because this is just a slide and maybe you're not very comfortable to reading this small thing here, closed, restricted, conditional, open. No Canadian universities, especially those that we researched, those U15, are not closed. Neither they are open. And different faculties and different courses and different professors have different strategies. This is how some universities are restricted and some universities a little open, but there are conditional opening. Most of the Canadian universities, different departments are within this, either restricted, they allow, but very precisely, conditional open, but there are conditions. We'll be discussing about these conditions here later. Here is the Queen's University's AI use policy. And you can see there are 3 layers: permitted with citation, permitted in specific assignment with citation, not permitted at all. So student must submit their own work and cite the work that is not and cite the work that is not theirs. Generative AI writing tools such as ChatGPT are welcome in the class, provided you cite them material that they generate. Any other use constitute a departure from academic integrity, so you will be penalized. Otherwise, permitted in a specific assignment. Here, students must submit their own work, cite the work that is not theirs. Generative AI tools such as ChatGPT are only permissible when explicitly noted in the assignment instruction. Otherwise, penalized, more conditions, and it depends on course by course, professor by professor. Not permitted, there are some courses that completely don't permit any kind of AI tools. And the same approach, but a little elaborated. You cannot read it definitely, but there is the link of the website. University of Toronto syllabus language, and they're saying they can use generative AI tools. You can see my cursor here. You can use generative AI tools, and they are explaining here and giving some kind of citation guidelines here, artificial intelligence, whatever, and can use a little conditional, this yellow mark, and cannot use. So Canadian universities are in this threefold strategy: permitted with citation, permitted in a specific assignment with citation, very restrictive, not permitted at all. So is the University of Toronto, so is University of Ottawa, University of Saskatchewan, University of British Columbia, Queens, whatever. And what I'm doing here in my course, so this is my experiment, look at here. In University of Ottawa, I'm teaching right now research methods for master's degree, and communication, globalization, and change for master's degree again. And this is introduction to organizational communication for undergrad. Now, my policy is a blanket policy, but I have a different instruction and different syllabus. The policy is, this is the same policy in across all syllabus, but in every syllabus, I have designed different activities using AI tools. In accord with the Ottawa's academic regulation, A4, academic integrity and academic misconduct, approved by the Senate, students are responsible in ensuring all information contained in the writing assignment properly cited and that all sources appropriately noted and referenced. A student must specify whether and how generative AI has been used, identify technology used to generate any content in any form. The instructor, second phase, the instructor reserves the right to follow up on any submitted assignment with oral evaluation. The oral evaluation will be graded and considered in conjunction with the submitted assignment to determine the final grade. Not easy. This is the extra part for the professor in the same salary and same pay and perks. And here what I did, this is CMN, this one side, this is my experiment side, CMN 5195, Generative AI in Journalism. That course I taught in last summer. I asked a student to generate some news report using some AI tools, whatever of their choice. They can use at least 3 maximum in one tool. And then they have to do literature review, compare and contrast with the real literature that is available with the source. And then critical analysis and reflection is their own, not from any AI tools. And what they have to do is, for the sake of transparency, they have to submit with the all screenshots of the prompts as well as the output thoroughly in the appendix of this assignment. In this fall, I'm teaching research methods, as I showed you before. There are also one alternative assignment is there. Students are going to generate a research proposal using AI tools, but again, they will submit all the procedure of the, for the sake of transparency, they will submit all screenshots and all prompts and everything of the AI generated outputs. And then they will do the critical thinking on that, whether AI tool properly designed the research question, whether AI tool properly selected the research method, whether AI tool properly selected the participant collection, different kind of strategies, analysis, and everything. And the students will think on that and write. And if they were there, whether they will go with AI or they will go something differently, and what is the logic behind that. Then they have to produce another 25 pages based on this 25-page report. So this is a kind of exercise that we are designing and experimenting, and we'll see what kind of responses are coming and what kind of improvements are required for the future. And there is Turnitin. The University of Ottawa and many some of other universities in Canada, top universities, they have endorsed Turnitin also, and they embedded Turnitin in the assignment submission system. I have brought here some screenshots of the past assignments that students submitted, and what I said to my student, if Turnitin percentage is detecting more than 20% either plagiarism or AI generated content, so it's not clear whether this 30% is plagiarism or this is AI generated content or combination of both. So I believe this is the combination of both. So if it is producing more than 20%, then this assignment is unacceptable. You have to resubmit the assignment by reworking on that. And so this is also a kind of a guardrail, but this is not enough, and this is not very much clear, and this is not the solution for every problem. So even though Turnitin in there, and some universities are experimenting on that. So if you are a professor, wherever you are teaching, either in Canada and beyond, maybe these 5 questions can be helpful for designing your research or your pedagogical exercise. How can I ensure that students' work reflects their own understanding and not AI-generated output? So this is the first thinking we should have. Will allowing Gen AI enhance or undermine students' critical thinking and creativity? So we should think on that. And so we should try to do whatever we can to promote the critical thinking. Do all students have equal access to Gen AI tools, or will it deepen digital divides? So if all students are not able to access these tools, then we should not recommend that. So this is why Canadian universities, especially these U15, they recommend the professors that they must endorse those who are endorsed by the university system. And how can I guide students to use Gen AI responsibly, addressing biases, copyright, and misinformation? So professors should work out on this. And how can I design assignments and exams that fairly assess learning with or without Gen AI use? So these are the 5 questions maybe when we can think about them that can help us promote academic integrity, learning outcomes, equity and access, ethical and pedagogical responsibilities, assessment validity. So these are the areas that we can work on. One tips. University of Laval. I found University of Laval, these suggestions are interesting, but these are copied and modified from McMaster University's website. Check that AI use is authorized. As a professor, as a student, you can see that and what is the university policy. Be transparent. If you are using, acknowledge them. Be cautious. So try to experiment yourself and see how are the output coming, whether a lot of hallucinations are coming, errors are coming. Be careful, check that, and don't allow that kind of AI tools to students. Consider the limits of Gen AI, what they can say, what they cannot. So we should be careful on that. And prioritize your learning, not the technology. So learning is more important than any other thing. So we should be careful. And these suggestions are somehow complement with the questions that I prepare here. And if you are a student, now, from the student's perspective, we can ask this question. Is using Gen AI for my assignment considered ethical? Question 1. Does it count as academic misconduct? Because, for example, in Queen's University, DeepSeek is restricted. If you are using DeepSeek and producing some kind of assignment rather than using some indoors AI tools, then this is the academic misconduct and you can be penalized. Will relying on Gen AI help me learn better or make me dependent on it? Think on that. If others use Gen AI and I don't, will that give them unfair advantage? Yes, it will, because there are some research studies and they already demonstrated this in a very substantial manner. Can I trust the information and references Gen AI provides? No. We should be careful on that. What are my professors' rules about Gen AI use and how can I follow them properly? Because every university professors, every course professor has a different approach. So students must be careful, professor by professor, not a blanket rule. So be careful on that. And here is the very extreme point. Now, I already said a student is the most victimized person here, because they have, on the one hand, technological challenge, on another hand, a lack of universal policy challenge. What to do, which professor to follow, and whether this effective strategy be applied to another professor or not. And another important point is, am I using ChatGPT or is ChatGPT using me? Whether I'm able to control it or it is just, I'm just a kind of user for them to provide them information for their training model. Have the AI tools taken over and guiding your like their own students? So maybe AI tool is your supervisor and you are just a student. You are not controlling AI tools for your assistants. Then this is a problem. And this dilemma is the main issue that we have to discuss in different platforms. And in section 4, there is quite interesting stuff, and especially in Canada and USA. And some of the slides I'm presenting here is provided by one of our distinguished listener here of this program, Acharya from Nepal. So I'm thankful for him to providing some of the case studies here. So it's interesting. And so I'm presenting here this, what about using AI detection tools, GPT-0, GPT, copy, leaks, fill both, there's so many. And GPT-0 AI detection, they say this is just any AI tools that they just provide this kind of pictures that when you put the AI, some content, then they detect whether this is human written or AI written. And these AI tools, the AI detection tools, they promote themselves that AI detection is not like plagiarism. It is a probabilistic, and 99% we are correct, 1% we are not sure. And we are trying to enhance that 1% too. And they recommend us, so consider adding AI detection tool in the class course purpose so that you can make your students responsible. This is their promotion. It's not Canadian University promotion. And here is, for example, several American universities, universities and professors, they started recommending some AI detection tools like Zero GPT, like Butler University, USA, there is one course syllabus. So because AI policy is compulsory in every course syllabus, and what tools are indoors, what they can use, what they cannot do, this must be discussed within the syllabus. So here, one professor, Jessica from Butler University, is saying that she recommends ChatGPT Copilot, and she also uses GPT-0 and encourage other students also to use GPT-0 to make sure that their content is not copied from AI something. So it is quite debatable, especially in Canadian context. And here is example number 2, Oregon College, another professor, and the professor also is using GPT-0 or some other AI detection tool as a part of the program. Here is another Monroe University, same thing. Here is another Lewis University, and there is also a detail, acceptable use, not acceptable use, and what are the AI tools they have to use. And this syllabus also recommends one AI detection tools to be used for students and professors to make sure no copy paste things are going. Okay. And more interesting is that maybe this is example number 5. So I just count example number 4 again here. So it's like the academic fraud declaration. In every syllabus, we used to have the we include this academic fraud declaration that everything is my own, and so I'm abiding by the university rules and regulation and everything. So in American universities, they started creating this kind of form here. How I used AI, student firm, and students would write their names and other credentials, and then declare brainstorming ideas and check mark. Language support, check mark, vocabulary enhancement, editing, research, and authenticity check mark there. And how I used, and they have to explain here, and they have to sign and date signature. And we also did some kind of experiment here ourselves. In for the sake of this research that I introduced in the beginning, we asked write a paragraph on a role of education, and then ChatGPT wrote this paragraph. So prompt is here, write a paragraph on the role of education. You can see the screenshot here also, ChatGPT, and it wrote that. Then we brought that to Humanize AI, and we put that in one side, and just we click this Humanize AI, and then it humanized in a different way. So education has always been something. Then we come back to here, Zero GPT, and ask Zero GPT, hello, check this. And Zero GPT said, it's 100% human written, 0% AI GPT contribution. Mean there's nothing. So I don't know what is the logic behind these American universities are recommending this AI detection tool as a part of the program. Maybe they also have massively discussed on that, but Canadian thinking is quite different, that AI detection tools are not 100% correct, and we should avoid them. And University of Toronto on AI detection tool, what it says, the question is, how can I tell if a student used GenAI system on my assignment? Can I or should I use on one of the new AI detection program? And university no. University even say sharing your students' work with this software program without their permission has raised a range of ethical privacy and ethical concerns, like copyright violation, informed consent violation, and other privacy violations. Their credential might going in the system of these AI tools. So Canadian universities are 100% strict and they have a uniform voice to restrict that. But American universities, professors, they are started allowing the students to use that, and professors also are using these things. So these two things are quite starkly different between American and Canadian universities. And finally, this is 45 minutes that I started this discussion. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes more, and then I'll wrap it up. Tips for effective use, what we can do. So this is a kind of summary from the beginning to now. First of all, every professor or student who want to use some new AI tool that is not endorsed by the university department, then they have to investigate the usability of specific tool, analyze their strengths and limitations, and associate information security risks. So whether they are using students' personal credentials for their personal benefits, or what are their privacy rules, and these things, post investigation is there. This is professor can do this investigation, university department can do this investigation, or the library, or who is responsible, they can do it. Number two, consult with your university supervisor. If a professor want to use some AI tool that is not endorsed by the university system, then they can talk about that. Maybe some university is not recommending some AI, this graphic generation type of, or literature review focused AI tools like Notebook LM or Elicit.org. For example, in my university, Elicit.org or Notebook LM are not recommended. So if I need them for some kind of experiment with the students, then maybe I can talk to the department or some IT section. So, and regarding the potential restriction, recommend institutionally endorsed tools only. If you use the institutionally endorsed tools, and if there are some problems, then you are safe. But if you're using something other than that, and if there are some kind of privacy or other violation issues, and if there are some legal ethical problem arises, and then you can be the victim of that. And strategize your objectives and outline how you will achieve your academic goals with these tools in your course syllabus. So redesigning the course syllabus, that is AI friendly, generative AI tools friendly, and that is helping promote critical thinking of students. So how critical thinking AI tools are being compatible to each other and without restricting or violating the space of freedom. So we should be careful on that, and instruct students in GenAI literacy before allowing them to use these tools. So first of all, we have to instruct the students what are the limitations, what are the strengths, how to use, how not to use, and what are the expectations in the university's course syllabus that they should use it, to what extent. If you are using Grammarly, for what? Just for the grammar check, for the rewriting, for the massively copy editing, or what kind of? So we have to figure out the degree of intervention and require students to document a step-by-step process to the assignment. So in my assignment, whatever assignment I provide using AI tools, I ask my students to produce all prompts and outputs in the screenshot. So I should see prompt and I should see the outputs also. And this should be simultaneous. There should not be any gap. And then based on that, what they learn, what is the new thing they contributed, whether this is they're simply copy pasting whatever AI tool is generating, or they are contributing something and substantially creating something new out of that AI generated content. So I will check that. So when we are using AI tools, then we should request our students, or there should be a requirement. We should create a requirement that a student must be transparent and provide all step-by-step procedures of this kind of AI interventions, and evaluate the potential learning outcomes for students using GenAI tools and knowledge that may be lost without them, and promote collaborative assignment to facilitate learning from individuals and peers. So when students are using alone, they are less likely to learn. If they're in a group setting and using AI tools and trying to discuss on that based on my class experiments, I think collaborative learning using AI tools is more important, and that is giving more insights to them learning. And in Canadian context, I'm not saying American context or other countries, so you can discuss on that. Refrain from using AI detection tools. These are the final AI tools and tips. So these are a kind of summary from the beginning, what I said here until now. So it's 50 minutes now. I'm 5 minutes more than expected. So thank you all for listening, and whatever questions, we'll be happy to discuss on that. And I will allow Professor Dharel to be here to share his insights and then moderate the questions, whatever so far we have received here. Thank you so much for everyone for listening this.
Thank you, Dr. Acharya, for your wonderful presentation. I got a chance to learn so many things about that. As we mentioned that this webinar is basically, we have a limitation. This is a learning and teaching environment. It means mostly in the classroom environment. Basically, our the participants or whoever listening this one and focusing on mostly on the teaching area or learning areas. What I have seen that a couple of people have put their comment in the text chat box. I'm gonna go through those and then for sure Dr. Acharya will be able to give the good comment on that regarding their concern. So let me read some of this part, and I have seen the first one is Birendra Sapkota ji has mentioned here, given the pressing need to address a rightful use of Gen AI in modern day academics. What is it that has hindered in preparing a consistent policy across universities of U15? So that is again, Dr. Acharya, you have mentioned already, but would you like to just clarify that?
So if I have to speak here right away, given the pressing need to address the rightful use of Gen AI tools modern day, all universities are in a way wait and see condition, wait and see, experiment, and they're just trying to be more cautious than experimenting and innovation. So what we found in the beginning when we did a research, and we found there are substantially 71 the policy documents. Later on, when we open the same hyperlinks, and they are either merged or they are gone somewhere, or they are already expanded something, and there were just 60 total documents we found later on after 5. So everybody is experimenting, but they're very much cautious so that there should not be any kind of backlash, and they're waiting for how American universities, European universities, Chinese or Indian universities are experimenting. And they're investing somehow, but they're waiting some more and being hesitant. So we saw that kind of stuff. This is how these U15 universities, even though they have one policy document, a very solid, a kind of declaration type of documents, it's already available, U15 AI declaration. But in practice, every university has a different approach, and every department has different approach.
Again,
Another problem I found is, for example, in my course, I'm teaching journalism communication here. In my course, in some news writing stuff, I can experiment on that. But those who are doing creative writing, or those who are teaching music, those who are doing some kind of field activities type of thing, so maybe they are getting some less useful for certain degree. So every subject has their a different kind of scope of intervention. So maybe this is being explored, and we are finding out new kind of AI tools.
yeah.
This is the area. Maybe I think Birendra ji has got some kind of.
Thank you, Dr. Acharya. Again, as you mentioned before in your presentation as well, even within the same university colleges, they have some, uh, not the similarity. Every faculty have a different type of styles on their teaching. And again, academic freedom, everyone has a different style. Okay, even myself, I allow them somehow, but the meantime, I don't let them to go like a driverless type of automobile. I want them to put your hand on the steering wheel, the same thing. Again, that is a wonderful. And then second one, I have here, Beena Sharmaji have mentioned here, Ontario School Board has okay to make use of AI tools in the school work ethically. What does this ethically mean in the school setting for the students and the teachers? Good question.
One of the most important part is the transparent use. Another important part is every teacher is free to create a kind of scope of intervention. So how much to use? Just for brainstorming, just for literature review, just for creating some kind of discourse and research methods, or for the critical analysis type of. So what are the aspects of intervention and to what degree the intervention is required? So every teacher, every course has a different kind of expectations, and every professor wants, okay, in my case, brainstorming for any course, you can use AI tools like you can use Wikipedia. That's fine for me. In some other professor, they say no brainstorming from AI tools. Just brainstorm yourself, close your eyes and start thinking, write in this paper. No. So transparency is the most important part. Another, maybe there are some copyright issues, citation issues, and informed consent issues that are coming. So these things, maybe they are looking for ethical use. Ethical use, if they are allowed just for the brainstorming and literature review, stick on there, not come to the critical writing part. So
Thank you. Thank you. I have another one. Chun Gurungji has mentioned here. Presumably, professor at 15 universities are digital immigrants, and undergraduates are digital natives. Wow. Gen Z. Okay, Gen Z. In other words, how did you find professor literacy or familiarities with the Gen AI? And does means does you think do you think it is a challenges for digital immigrants professor?
Yeah, he's right. He's right. Because when I was showing one picture of the students confused, frustrated, and everything, I already said students are the victim, they are the guinea pig, they are being experimented on everything. It is because they are bearing the burden of some of the professors who are not very IT friendly, who are not very this generative AI friendly. And this workload also coming to the university, the students. So students are experimenting and they're fast tracking. They are very friendly and familiar with the AI tools. But when professors are not comfortable on that and the professors are bearing them because they have the scope of freedom, they say no. And then what the students can do? They are the guinea pigs now. They are really the pure victims. It's not just Canada, it's everywhere. It's happening. You're right.
Yeah, that's the true part. Again, in a same the students have if they have a 4 or 5 classes with 4 or 5 different faculty, everyone has different teaching style, right? Some people still use the chalk and duster type of things. Someone is a more
Right.
high tech type of person. This is all they're practicing themselves, and the students are actually kind of guinea pigs. They gotta adjust to every different environment. And then now I have Beneath Mahatji has mentioned here. Thank you, Bhanudai, for a great presentation about general AI. In your experience, is there any opportunity and risk that AI poses to journalists and journalist ethics? Which is a good question. Thank you.
So there are so many the risk associated with journalism and journalistic ethics. Again, transparency, honesty, these things are the basic values. There is a Paris Charter. If you Google it, Paris Charter, and it has some 8 to 10 points, and they are asking for how transparent we can be and how ethical we can be. There are some, and how to avoid biases. There's so many things. And for example, those who are simply doing some copy editing type of role, those who are simply rewriting news or transcribing news, these jobs are already gone. And if you are coming with the AI tools knowledge and moving beyond that, then only your job can be secure. Journalism will be there, even though whatever technology comes. But whether you can uphold the technological innovation within you and moving beyond, then only you can survive. Otherwise, you cannot. So, journalism is one of the riskiest professions because of the generative AI things. But journalism will remain, and some journalists will be there, those who uphold the qualities of GenAI innovation. So you are right, it's risky, but we are teaching students how to move forward, taking help of those AI tools and their advantage, and moving and speeding up, upskilling yourself, and going beyond the horizon. So this is what we are teaching. Last summer, I enjoyed the course teaching for the master's level students. Even though some of them are not from journalistic background, they enjoyed a lot, and they said, okay, without having journalism background a lot, because of the AI tools, now we got the point. So
So maybe Dr. Acharya, as you mentioned, it's basically AI. Gen AI is much more. We have a certain level of ethical part, and we follow certain norms and values when we are in the classroom teaching our students. Whereas related to this media people, there are so many different people like what you call YouTube type of people. These people are so-called the media people, and they have a deep fake. This type of misuse of AI is a massive in the media side, as you might be agree on this point, and many of other people might have this, because there is not a control system. Anyone can generate their one way, and they started broadcasting that, putting in the YouTube and putting their social media. There's a lot of deep fake, which is very, very sometimes beyond the imagination. They create those type of fake news, and it is maybe the AI. It's we can say this is misused of AI. You agree with this point?
um, there are different kind of experiments happening now. For example, one Indian television Astha created a real AI avatar of real news anchor. In Pakistan, there is another gentleman, he who was the chief of the television, and he created his own avatar and started broadcasting program as if he is the real one. And there are several such kind of instances. So they are providing news, but they are providing through the AI avatars, and they are not necessarily saying this is the AI avatar, this is not the real human being. Number one. There are hundreds of websites these days. For example, newsgpt.com is one. There are hundreds of others. They are run by AI tools and chatbots. There is no human being visible and responsible on that. So we cannot find anyone responsible to respond our email. If email is responded, this responded by chatbots, not the real human being. So it is really difficult, but there are some good practices also happening. So people are coming through that. This is the experimental phase. The way Canadian universities, these top 15 research universities are in a way confused scenario. So is the case in journalism too. Journalism also, there are different kind of experiments happening, and different kind of theories are used to interpret whether journalism is uh, upholding the journalistic standards or not. But as you said, there are deep fakes, there are so many things coming across, and there are so media savvy people, and virality is more important than truth. So because virality earns money, truth does not. So people are running behind these, how to get more money there. So
Th-
there's several interesting and
Thank, thank,
challenging stuff coming.
thank you. I have a quick two more here. The comments on that. One is again from Chun Gurung. He has mentioned here, Bhanu, I'm curious. How did your team adopt AI tools for this project? Resource Rabbit, for instance, designed to help researcher for literature review. And thanks for sharing your research finding. Okay, that is
University of Ottawa, where I'm affiliated to, and all other 14 universities that are the part of the U15 institutions, none of them have endorsed Research Rabbit so far. But some universities, they used elicit.org, That is also very interesting and important. I used Elicit a couple of times for literature review purpose. And now I saw this Scopus AI. I never heard that before, but I saw University of Toronto, they endorsed that. And there are some other AI for the literature review purpose. So gradually, based on the need, for example, this Chat GPT EDU, I never heard that before. Just 2 days ago, when I read and I got, oh yes, this is this kind of person. And there is another Clarivate Web of Science. These are for the literature review purpose, not specifically whatever you are calling Research Rabbit. I tried once Research Rabbit too. And if it is not endorsed by the university, we cannot use as a part of the syllabus for the discussion. We can experiment ourselves in my laptop, that's a different part. But if we have to go for the students and accommodations and incorporating them in the university syllabus, then we have to go through the university recommended system. This is why we have not used that, but we have used Copilot and we have used ChatGPT for based on the personal risk, right? Like park at your own risk. Similar thing. So you can use any AI tools, but at your own risk, whether you put your personal information or university can share, it is you, because nobody is being responsible for that. So
Yeah.
work at your own risk is the methods that we're using if students are saying something new AI tools that we never know, because hundreds of AI tools are coming every day. Thank you. Because
All right. So I have one final. It is from Shobha. Great presentation, very accurate uh, portrait for this situation we face in the classroom and in research. This question is somewhat vague, but I
okay.
want to hear about your view on the long-term implication of AI on your education system, on our education system. Detection of AI generated work is difficult, making traditional evaluation system invalid. Should we reconsider and adopt our traditional teaching methods to better align with this new reality? What does this new model look like? This question actually was created using
It's a million
M365
dollar question.
Copilot.
It's a million. Oh, this question was created using M365 Copilot. Okay. Personally, I see I'm optimistic and I see these tools are positively going up. And tomorrow we can revamp the whole education system in the right directions, and we change all our writing heavy assignments going the oral speaking or the comprehension focused, rather than writing is a part, but writing is not a focus. Right now, theses and everything, research papers, publications, almost 80% is writing heavy. 5%, 10% is defense. Oral is very less. So tomorrow, writing is maybe 25%, and rest is role playing, demonstration, speaking, and other things. So I just want to bring a small example for Subhaji and all the scholars here. 2,500 years ago, when Socrates used to deliver a lecture in Plato's School of Philosophy in Athens, Plato was the master of the schools, and then he was responsible for welcoming guests and everything. And Socrates was there on the chair, and he used to deliver the lectures on that. And Plato used to be in the main gate so that he can welcome guests, or bringing waters, or giving some hand fans, so that if there is some kind of hot season, and then people can use that hand fans and everything, and the cushions for seating arrangements and everything. And when Plato was around the main door, and then when he gets opportunity, he used to write what Socrates is saying, what disciples are asking question. And one time Socrates saw that Plato is writing something, and Socrates scolded Plato, saying, don't write, come here to understand the knowledge. It's not that something you write and then you understand it. Because writing is new media, it's challenging, so everybody can misinterpret your writing. Tomorrow, whatever you have written can be misinterpreted based on the people's background, people's knowledge, people's cultural setting. So my knowledge will be definitely misinterpreted. So stop writing. So he said that 2,500 years ago, not now. So during then, writing was a new medium. Very few people could write. So is the case when social media came for us, and then we tried to experiment with everything until 2015. Social media was a good media. When Trump was on the throne, and then social media is bad media, and still social media is lingering, especially after COVID-19. Social media was responsible for spreading a lot of fake information. Now we are coming to this new tool, generative AI. You cannot stop it because it is useful, it is easy. So when you cannot stop it, you have to live in this new normal scenario and redesign the course into the new normal way. That's why there is no choice. We have to adapt this technology and move forward. When there was radio, newspapers, they criticized radio because they were immediately broadcasting information and newspapers were not sold. When there was television, radio criticized television because television came with the additional visionary power rather than just the audio. So every technology comes in the price of the past technology. So we should be hopeful. I think we can beat it. So one day AI is a very integral part of the education system, and our education system is revamped, and writing heavy assignment system will be changed. So this is coming soon. Within 5 years, 10 years, we'll see the different picture.
So this means ultimately we must move ahead uh, wherever the technology goes, and we must follow that.
Yeah, it's
And
a new normal.
do
We
you
must
think
follow.
in the coming years maybe the technology gonna replace the human being? Because these days people stop writing. They stop writing with the paper. Maybe they would write very little word or sentence, less than a paragraph. They don't write the full page. They rely on the computer. And then similarly, AI is doing everything. You don't need to have a driving license. The car gonna run by themselves. A lot of technology is taking us moving forward too fast. In that case, our one kind of knowledge and whatever the training we used to have, maybe that is useless. We don't need anymore, right? These days, even you go to the driving school, they may not ask you how to do the parallel parking because so many cars are easily made. They know that you don't have to do it yourself. The car itself gonna park it. So do you think that that might gonna take place, especially in the teaching positions, such as we all are in this position? Do you think that maybe coming years, maybe Elon Musk is every time saying that I don't need any educated people. My technology is replacing those people. Do you think that this is gonna happen? It's a
Maybe
broad.
Dinesh or you can answer this kind of thing, because I'm not that much far-sighted. But based on the past and based on the rivalry of different technology, and there are so many fears and whatever things happened in the past, and what we learn is after a certain time, the technology also coexist and they move forward. And this is always betterment for the humanity. So these AI tools are right now they create a kind of rivalry against the existing setup and system, but gradually they create their own order, and they will be adopted in different kind of technology and technological system.
Yeah.
So
So
I don't be so much skeptic and very pessimistic.
that's a general.
I'm hopeful,
Yeah.
and this is helping us. We can move forward. So that's the
Yeah,
point.
we must move forward. This is wonderful. This is wonderful. The presentation as well as a lot of comments. The
Dinesh, yeah, this
presentation
is
went very well. I congratulate Bhanu sir for your insightful, very wonderful presentation. I got a chance to learn about that part, and then also Dinesh ji, thank you for organizing this event. As you are the organizer, the host, I had a chance to sit together with you two guys. Thank you so much.
Thank
okay.
you. Thank you, Dr. Acharya, for a wonderful presentation. It's the beginning of our webinar series. We are planning to organize a whole webinar every year, and starting with this one, we will try to diversify different areas. This was more about AI. Perhaps our upcoming series could be related with economics or pure science, or some other social science field. So we'll update you as we identify and determine the next speaker for our webinar, and then we proceed from that on. Thank you so much. I think perhaps many participants is a little bit late. It's Eastern time is 9:30 now. Maybe we will for the next webinar, we may try to find some time, maybe during the weekend or some other days, or maybe some convenient time. Let's see how that goes. So we this is a learning phase for us, because now we know we also need to focus on our targeted audiences. We is the this institution, we try to bridge some gap and try to connect with the diaspora community. Therefore, maybe some of our audiences are uh, from Nepal. So therefore, when we organize next time, maybe we try to find more common, convenient time across the southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere, and different time regions. So particularly then North America and Nepal. So maybe because as Dr. Acharya said at the very beginning, when we started the session, it was around 6 o'clock in the morning back in Nepal, and it's not convenient, right? For example, you're just waking up on Wednesday morning there, you have to go to work, and it's not convenient. So, but we'll try to accommodate all those, uh, not all those, but some of those time differences in our next series. It's a wonderful topic. It's a never ending. It's an emerging one. So therefore, whatever we say today or whatever Dr. Acharya mentioned today could be a different story in 6 months, because technology is growing in exponential way. um, yes, Dr. Dharel also mentioned that maybe some of our job will be gone. If I'm teaching STEM field, then perhaps, to be very honest, we may not need the professor in STEM field, because it's we are talking about science, about the facts, and as long as machine can provide all those scientific and fact-based statements, I think that should be okay. But we also need to pay attention that how our society is composed of. We have different interest group. This is a part of democracy. So interest group, they try to protect their own profession. So there could be different regulation coming in place. So, everyone is fighting for their own self-interest. So it's potential is there, but lots of restriction would be there as well. So let's hope when we'll have next AI related talk in future, maybe we can revisit what we discussed today with a new topic we'll be presenting in future. Thank you everyone for joining for today's webinar series, and thank you so much.